Novelle Petronella, hope everyone's doing well. And nobody better complain about these low prices that you've been asking for. Oh, I wish we'd go back to 20 cents. Boom, you just got your wish. The XRP community has a little bit always reminded me of Scooby-Doo and the gang, which is why I chose this image, because solving riddles is like a powerful magnet that seems to draw out the entire community. And it's been doing that for years since I've been involved, since 2018. I don't think I've ever seen one piece of XRP news that has come out that doesn't get retweeted, dismantled, taken apart, and then probably live streamed about on various XRP channels, sometimes simultaneously, which also includes as a subcategory anything that could be seen as XRP news, or which that would be like news to the community, including dates, times, body language of Ripple employees, body language of anybody affiliated with Ripple employees, tweets of possible Ripple insiders or riddlers, or anything else under the heading of, like, can we fit this here? I think sometimes it can be both a blessing and a curse, because there's always like the possibility of oversaturation, and that does happen, and then everybody gets confused, and then ultimately there's like dissension in the collective community sentiment. But for myself, for years I've been kind of going back and forth in my mind. I have these conflicting thoughts surrounding crypto and XRP and the whole double-edged sword of like attaining financial freedom, but at the potential cost of what? Of losing more privacy, if that's even possible right now. But being part of a larger community of XRP holders, I know that this is a topic that is on other people's minds as well, because we talk about this in our Discord group sometimes, and I also see it come up, out in the community on social media and crypto Twitter, and so I know it's something that people think about. But the other day I saw a post on Twitter. It was from JC Collins, and he posed this question on Twitter, which I thought was very topical for this particular time. But he said, how do those who are both Trump supporters and XRP Ripple supporters reconcile the two opposing ideals and initiatives? I'm struggling with that myself right now. Can both win out in the end? I feel like this is the awkward, unasked question in the XRP community, which I would agree, but I would even distill that down further to include non-supporters of Trump maybe too, and then ask, is it possible for any of us to be truly and fully financially free alongside the use of a currency like XRP? Or are we just guilty by association by inadvertently being in relations with the very entities that most of us say we would never support? I don't have answers to these questions up front, but I do support Ripple in a sense because of the potential I see in XRP. I like where they're taking global payments. I get it. I admire their uber confident stance and the far reach they seem to have, globally. And the idea of making money move as fast as information moves is a pretty groundbreaking effort, if you think about it, because we've been stuck in literal decades of hell and 3 days to cash a check when we're in the digital age to some degree already, right? And so what is it with the number 33? You may have heard the term 33, what is it? I can't even say it. 33rd degree Mason, which the 33rd and last degree of the Scottish Rite is an honorary degree that's given to a person for their exceptional service to Freemasonry. The Knights Templar is a fraternal order affiliated with Freemasonry. And if you've spent any time at all in the XRP community, you'll be familiar with the multiple riddles that have manifested and been passed around and broken down and dissected and sometimes made fun of again and again.
They're all covered with filthy germs, aren't they, Smithers?
Why, what do you mean, sir?
Freemasons run the country!
And of course, if you've spent a little time around here, you'll see the topic of Freemasons and Freemasonry come up here and there, especially when a purported Masonic insider starts a Twitter account and begins their first cryptic transmission. Those are a community favorite. Everybody will go crazy, analyzes the hell out of those. Happens all the time. It's a lot of fun. And if you also remember Brad Garlinghouse as a knight was inserted into one of BG123's riddles, which caused a lot of commotion about a year or 2 years, I don't even remember, ago. And here again we have reference to the Knights Templar in this particular drawing. And if you notice, both the X on the XRP flag and also the X on the Knight's shield are Templar symbols, which is the hooked X. And here's a pic of the hooked X. And there are multiple conspiracy theories floating around related to Masonic symbolism and the number 33, including things like its use as a placement device in movies or television or something to indicate to other people who are in the know that something is false or pretense. But in the interest of not getting too into the weeds about its meaning, I'll just show you one way this number is playing out in today's media and, in effect, directly to our subconscious minds. I'm sure that the staggering coincidences that follow in this video can all be explained, but I can guarantee you it won't be by me. So, just check this out, and you come to your own conclusions.
As of today, and I say as of today at this hour, we have 33 confirmed positive tests for the virus.
Yesterday we had 22 cases. Today we have 33 cases, so it's gone up by 11. That brings, those are 11 new cases. 22 goes to 33.
As we sort through this here in Arkansas, today we have 33 confirmed positive cases in Arkansas.
As of today, we have 33 confirmed cases with Boston residents. We expect those numbers to climb.
As of this afternoon, we have 33 Pennsylvanians who have tested positive for COVID-19.
So as of this morning, there were 33 confirmed cases in North Carolina.
Good evening to you. Lots to get to tonight. I'm Leon Hendricks. We want to start with new information into our newsroom. Within the past couple of hours, there are now 33 confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Michigan.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Richard Gerard. Karina Corral has the night off. More cases of the coronavirus were confirmed today in San Luis Obispo County, bringing the total number now to 33.
Right now, Georgia is reporting a total of 99 cases in 19 counties. That is 33 new cases from just yesterday.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Swenson. More cases and more events affected. Here is the latest coronavirus news. There are now 33 cases in Louisiana.
As expected, the number of cases of COVID-19 jumps. A total of 33 people in our state have been tested and are confirmed to have the coronavirus.
Day 4 of the shelter-at-home order brought 6 new confirmed cases of the coronavirus to San Luis Obispo County, bringing the total number to 33.
All troopers will be professional, polite, and will treat everyone with dignity and respect.
These latest steps as the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Rhode Island jumps by 33 overnight.
We have some...
What? How would you explain all this? It's almost as though all the news stations across the land are having a number 33 coincidence party and they don't even know it. We know that numbers are a part of pretty much everything that we do, but why the insistence on the number 33? And again, I'm not here to answer that question because I can't. But maybe just to point some of it out, knowing that some of these tie-ins might prompt you to do more digging on the topic if it interests you at all. Then there's the book 1984 by George Orwell, which was written in 1949, and it's a science fiction dystopian novel where the major themes are the total control of the people by the government, including thought control and mass surveillance. It's very inspiring. And then the end of the novel results in the eventual idea of loving one's servitude. The World Economic Forum's recent "You'll Own Nothing and You'll Be Happy" campaign comes to mind. What? There's a guy named Colin Todhunter. He's got a website called globalresearch.ca, and on his site He says, the Great Reset entails a transformation of society resulting in permanent restrictions on fundamental liberties and mass surveillance as entire sectors are sacrificed to boost the monopoly and hegemony of pharmaceutical corporations, high-tech big data giants, Amazon, Google, major global chains, the digital payment sector, biotech concerns, etc. Using COVID-19 lockdowns and restrictions to push through this transformation, the Great Reset is being rolled out under the guise of a fourth industrial revolution, in which older enterprises are to be driven to bankruptcy or absorbed into monopolies, effectively shutting down huge sections of the pre-COVID economy. Economies are being restructured, and many jobs will be carried out by AI-driven machines. In the short video by the WEF, they predict that by 2030, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. So on the one hand, maybe the idea is to be guilted into thinking like, yeah, I'm going to own nothing and I'm going to love it. Okay. And then the other side of your brain, you're like, well, who the fuck are they kidding? But to the mass mind or the hive mind, you know, the collective unconscious, pretty much they already got the memo. And once they buy that idea, then you and your crypto could be seen as the enemy. So it's like, you know, you own something and you don't care for others, obviously. You own something, you must be empty inside. You're an empty outsider. And speaking of 1984, you may have noticed this out in the theaters and all over social media lately. I was on Twitter the other day and this literal trilogy popped up on my feed in this order, which I thought was interesting. Because like it or not, we are entering a new age. And you can say that 70-something years later, we're now fully immersed in that 1984 world, and all the control mechanisms at play are just getting worse. But on the other side of that coin, the other way to think about the coming changes, I think, to the world are, whether you call it the New Age, the Great Reset, the Great Wealth Transfer, the Great Awakening, maybe most notably in the financial sphere, where a new sort of golden age is coming, and those that have seen the signs and jumped on board will benefit, you know, on the early train, which XRP being one harbinger of that early train, or so many of us believe. There's definitely two schools of thought around that, and not everyone agrees it's going to play such a key role as some of us do. And that's okay. But some of the images did capture my attention. I'm sure I don't have to tell you why. And one final note on the Freemasons, just maybe a bonus round. I don't know if you've seen or heard the term hidden hand, and I'll read this. A short version is, the hidden hand lets the other initiates know that the individual depicted is part of this secret brotherhood, and that his actions were inspired by the Masonic philosophy and beliefs. Furthermore, the hand that executes the actions is hidden behind cloth, which can symbolically refer to the covert nature of the Mason's actions.
Welcome to the club number 908. You have joined the Sacred Order of the Stonecutters.
I saw a few interesting interviews the other day with Catherine Fitz, who is a former investment banker and U.S. Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development during Bush Sr.'s term in office. And in one of the interviews with USA Watchdog, she says that the bankers are not planning a currency system, but a control system. And she had quite a few interesting things to say, which I'll show here.
What they're doing two things. The Going Direct Reset includes doing what you can to extend the dollar reserve currency system and sort of bolster that while you accelerate the bringing in of a new system. And what's important to understand, Greg, is the new system is not a global reserve currency. The new system is a global control system that will be engineered through financial transactions, because the central banks will directly control everybody's wallet and bank. So, for example, it was very interesting. The IMF had a cross-border payments forum a month or two ago, and Carstens, we're going to use this in our annual wrap-up, which is on the Going Direct Reset. Carstens said, you know, the beauty of the new central bank digital currencies is the central bank can totally control who can use it and not. And he was referring to controlling non-citizens using it, but what was very clear from what he said is they can stop a citizen, you know, they'll have total control. So think of it this way. if you look at the COVID restrictions that are happening around the world, so, somebody in Sydney, Australia is told they can't go 5 miles more from their home. Literally, you're talking about a system where your money won't work, beyond 5 miles from your home. And as you talk to people around any aspect of the going direct reset, they can't fathom what the world looks like from the central banker's point of view. Because the central bankers are very afraid. They're very afraid of the population. Because for many years, the way they've done what they've done is to keep everything secret and to pay the population off. And now that they can't pay the population off, they still don't want to, sort of let down the veil of the secrecies, and they have no way of explaining it.
And I have no way of explaining this. And on the topic of speaking of things that are hard to explain,
and we just in 2018 we issued a contract to Vodafone and Nokia to build a 4G network on the moon. The Chinese are planning on doing a development on the far side of the moon. People are talking about going to Mars. So if you're going to have a multiplanetary civilization, how do you have a financial transaction function that can relate, in and out for other planets? I dare say, I'm sure the Brits have their offshore havens up in the suborbital platform already. Why would they miss that trick? I'm serious. If you look at the tax benefits of creating a legal jurisdiction in space that's free of all taxation, that's the ultimate tax haven. I'm serious.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, I'm sure I'll bet you €1 it exists.
well, there's only so much we're going to know from our standpoint down here on Earth for the time being, but let's hope that 2021 is a lot less like 2020 and maybe even lesser like 1984 and a whole lot more like a newer, more golden age.
Transparency is very important. If you look at what needs to be done, the problem, we don't have the power to stop the central bankers from doing what they're doing, but my prediction is they will fail. It's too hard, it's too complicated, and it's too outside the laws of nature or the laws of divine intelligence. And the issue then becomes, how do we, as a people, pick up and build a human civilization? So, they decided they couldn't do a human civilization. They're doing something I think will fail. And the question for all of us is, how can we make sure we can take things right if and when they fail? We are now integrating very powerful technology, and that means we have to grow spiritually. We have to, you can't have this kind of advanced technology, managed by cavemen. And to a certain extent, that's what we're watching. We're giving very powerful weaponry and very powerful surveillance technology to people who are using it behaving like cavemen.
And the last question is do you think there's a spiritual dimension to this?
I think first and foremost what we're dealing with is spiritual. This is part of a 10,000-year-old war. And the outcome depends on our ability to spiritually evolve and grow up.